So welcome again. This is episode 4. This is with our senior contracts manager, Mick. I think he's been with us near enough from the start, so it's a pleasure to have you on board today, Mick. I like to start off with just how you got into construction. You know, right back to the start. What made you get into the world of construction, and what trade did you get into?
So originally, all come from a statement from my dad, which he actually said to me, learn a trade and you'll never be out of work, which was a simple thing, and it actually paid off really more than anything. So started originally in about 89, I was about 16 years of age, went to work with him as a stonemason, working down doing refurb works over in Milton Keynes. Then went to Liverpool City Council to get an apprenticeship. Worked with them for a number of years, probably around about 12 years. Then went to work on sites for a year, and then joined yourself in Jackson Lloyd for a few years.
That's where we first met, wasn't it?
Then left Jackson Lloyd, went on back onto sites for about a year and didn't really like it. And then over to yourself, where I was a subcontractor, and then we've gone from there.
Yeah, so that was what, 2008?
Yes, 2009, because it was the year we were in the final.
2009, There you go, yeah. So you've done lots of various little bits then in your career then. You said you started off as a stonemason. That's quite interesting. I didn't know that. That's new.
It was just a summer job really. My dad was working down in Milton Keynes. Wanted me to earn a little bit of money and just to get to know the trade, get to know people, see how they worked. Took me down there with my Uncle Davey as well. We were a little crew. I was just basically the lackey, making the cups of tea, seeing how it worked. Got used to working with certain types of tools, like the wooden mallets and the chisels and stuff. They let me have a little go. Couldn't destroy too much at that age when I was 16. And then went on from there, got my apprenticeship, as I say, with the Liverpool City Council.
Was that then joinery? Is that when you...
Joinery then,
the apprenticeship was joinery?
Yes, yeah.
And that would have been sitting guilds, not showing your age, but sitting guilds, not MVQ.
No, not the MVQ type, no. And then went on with the advanced joinery as well with it, which is what you got put through after 3 years. And then basically, learn bits and bobs as we go along.
So you joined Jackson Lloyd in...
Oh God, Jackson Lloyd one was...
A couple of years before you joined us, so 2007-ish?
No, a bit earlier than that.
But 2006?
2005, 2006.
Okay, sound. Yeah, so we were both on the Skelmersdale contract, weren't we?
Yes.
Doing void. Were you doing? I can't remember. Were you on the day-to-days or the voids?
Both. Mr. Grimes grabbed hold of me and just threw me on what he could until we eventually found ourselves on the voids.
Yeah, I was similar actually. I got chucked on day-to-day Riverside first for me.
He threw me onto. What were they called? L7 first, because that's where I grew up. Knew everybody in the area. He always has a meaning to his madness from Mr. Grimes. Knew everybody around there. And I could get away with anything, basically. That's all it was about.
Nothing's changed then?
Nothing's changed whatsoever,
we set up in 2007, so you were a couple of years later that you joined, and it was a subby to start off with, wasn't it? So you were working, if I remember correctly, on the Plus Dane contract?
Yes, that's right. Started off, well at first we started off with Connaught. Doing the kitchens. We had a little bit of a misdemeanor, shall we say, with them. And then obviously work dried up with them, and then Plus Dane come about. Then went working on Plus Dane as what slightly call a site foreman of some sort. Looking after that contract and then going from there really. So
you, although some of it was some contractor years, you're easily 15 years here, I would say, aren't you?
Yes, 2009, as I say, that's when I originally started. So up till present day, but I'd say 7 years it was as a subby, 6 years. Something like that, and then onto Cards In, basically where they are now.
So I imagine people that watch this will want to know, where do you... that transition from subcontractor to Cards In, what made you have that decision to go from being self-employed, sorting your own tax out, being in charge of that, to then becoming cards in with the company, was there a trigger point for you? Was there something that you remember that really made you think, do you know what, I'm going to make that transition from being a subcontractor, sort of my own van and this, that and the other, to...
Yes, job security, more than anything.
Yeah.
Job security, and you know, it's probably all the things that everyone says with job security, having paid holidays, just knowing that there was a job there for you. One of the things of stepping into here, once I was doing the subbing work, is that it was reliability.
Yeah.
Never out of work, seeing that everything worked, then taking that step. And when we had Chris that was working here, asking me to come along to be what we classed as the site supervisor, so working on the
Was
boards.
that, out of interest, was that the change, was that, you didn't do cards in as a joiner, did you? It was when there was
straight onto
supervisory role, yeah.
Which is what he wanted me to step into. Knew all the lads, knew everybody. It was a slow transition coming off the tools because we were still getting used every now and again.
Yeah.
But then taking that responsibility of starting to look after the voids on a small side, and then grew from there basically.
Yeah, and was that, talk me through that transition, not that, so we mentioned the job security transition from self-employed to cards in, but what about the transition from, it must be, I mean, I always found it quite difficult. When you're on the tools, you're one of the boys, aren't you? You're one of the lads, you're having your cups of tea, you're having your banter, you're having, you know, that laugh. How did you find that transition from being one of the lads to effectively going into being almost the, I know you weren't straight away the boss, but there was still an element of supervisory role there where, I know you had Chris above you, but it's still, how did you find that transition? What was hard and what was easy?
Difficult from separating the two.
Yeah.
So many years of actually being, as you say, somebody that was on the tools and basically doing what you were doing in the void properties or whatever job you were on. And then taking on that responsibility of, as it says, supervising people.
Yeah.
And going to the job and trying to put into your mindset that your job is there to supervise that job.
Yeah.
Instead of the chat.
Yeah.
Instead of the brews, instead of the laughs and everything else. And then very difficult. Took a certain person in this company that's no longer with us no more to basically put my mind to it. And as he said a simple little thing, you know, you're treating them as your mates, but if they are really your mates, they'll understand what your role is.
Yeah.
So telling them what to do now sort of took time, but stepped into it pretty easily once I started to get my head around what the actual job was.
How long do you think it took you to fully get, and have you even to this date got fully around it?
Yes, I'd say 95% fully rounded by now, just because the role that I'm in. It just can't, you can't have now, how can I put it really, you can't really have that sort of a chat with them without having some sort of responsibility of what you've got. So it probably took, I'd say, if I'm being honest with myself, probably took a good 2 years, possibly going into 3 years before that actually put the line in the sand and then took that step of actually, this needs to stop exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. So it was hard, but it's my sort of personality of how it was and how we got things done. Yeah.
So from there, so we've done supervising then for a good couple of years, working under a contracts manager above you. How long did it take you to go from site supervisor to, you know, to being a bit more into the contract management side?
Again, being honest with you, I've probably not stepped into that role completely just yet. It's still a learning curve, but obviously taking everything on at such a late age. Still learning, as they say, you know, the little quote, every day's a school day as that regards. Getting there slowly as we're going. It took a little while for that to actually kick in. Yeah. To realise now that, you know, to put it in simple terms, it's about being a leader and leading everybody. Yeah. And showing, you know, you live and die by the sword of what you're saying. Yeah. And it's that little thing. Again, it took me a little while to realise everything, but now it's starting to come into fruition with what we're doing. And obviously, the lads we have underneath us in regards to Silly and Jack, it's now learning them what I've learned before, and my mistakes. Yeah. Telling them, you know, what the mistakes were, how we can benefit from certain things, and trying to just, you know, advise them and give them a little bit as much as I can.
I mean, from my point of view, I think you've played that down a little bit. I think you've been on an amazing journey. You know, if you were to map everything out on a table, you know, the last 7 years, 7 years as a subcontractor being on the tools, 7 years in your management journey, you know, to be a senior contracts manager with a team underneath you, you managing almost 30 lads between you and you. In fact, you've got 3 supervisors underneath you and some working foremans as well. You know, compared to what that team was when you were a site supervisor, there was probably 10 staff. Yeah. Maybe 15 at a push, maybe. Yeah. It's come on a fantastic, you know, it's come on amazing, and you're massively part of that journey, I think.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, you know yourself more than anyone. We did start off small, only a couple of contracts, only a few operatives. And it's grown as we've grown, basically. Yeah. From having 1 supervisor as myself to now having 2 managers underneath, to now having 3 supervisors that are out on site. We've grown it slowly. Yeah. It's getting there. It's still not there. Yeah. It's still little things that need to be tweaked and little things that need to be changed.
But you should be proud of that. You know, sometimes when you only speak about it in terms as we are now, it gives you that little moment to reflect on. Jesus, actually, you know, we've got 30 members of staff. We've got 4 or 5 contracts now, haven't we? You know, Magenta, Liv,
L&Q, your hours, and then we've got the day-to-day sides as well. So it has grown. It is, you know, you sit back and look at it, it is sometimes pride over that you do actually look and see where we've grown from where we were originally. But yeah, it's not something that I really want to delve into until we get to where we need to be. Then that's probably when I'll sit back and have that little bit of pride when I can either pass it on or have somebody else that comes underneath.
What would you say then has been your toughest challenge over the years?
Actually the toughest challenge was going from actually an operative and working on the tools and taking that step slightly into the management role. As I just said before, it's that initial step of what you need to do and how you need to perceive yourself with the lads, because it's been X amount of years, whatever it was, of doing what you're doing on a daily basis, you know, getting away with stuff and making it easy and everything else, and then now having seeing what the company is value wise, having to make sure that, you know, materials are ordered on time, so on and so on and so forth. So that was probably the hardest step.
And what do you think, for someone who might be doing, that might be watching this, that's doing something similar journey to yourself, that's thinking about going into management, what's the best piece of advice you could give them?
Be prepared to listen.
Yeah.
It took me a while. Yeah. Listen off people, you know, who've been there, the experience and everything else. Even sometimes if you don't agree with it, just listen to what they've actually got to say. That's probably the best bit of advice. And learning as well. You're not always right. I found that myself. Yeah. I can probably think that I'm never wrong, even in an empty room and everything else. But yeah, learning and taking that on board. Yeah.
And what about your? Would you say your biggest achievement is since you've been here?
Getting to where I am now. Yeah. Basically, as you say, senior contracts manager. Getting to where I am now, and when I do look at it, is when I bring it all down and strip everything back. It is pride for what we're doing. It has been a great journey, you know, obviously being here since the 2 years after it started, rising up to where we are now and seeing everything grow and seeing how certain people done it in the position that I was in before, changing the way that they've done it. And I know we did have originally a revolving door with staff, and it was, you know, yourself, you'd be coming in the next weekend and this guy's gone because they don't like the manager, this guy's gone. Yeah. And taking that on board and asking myself the question, why? Why were people unhappy at first? Why were people, you know, asking these questions? And when the lads need somebody to chat to, talk to them. Yeah. And listen to them. It might be a dead simple solution that we can figure out. Yeah. But again, listening to them and then, you know, taking that on board basically.
Do you think that's one of the biggest parts of your role as your team's grown is man management, and how do you get the best out of them?
Yes. Yeah. Man management is a massive thing on my part. It's okay being there and telling them what to do, you know, and it's basically that side of it is a bit of a struggle at first because I was telling them what to do.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean on that side. Instead of, you know, questioning, asking them the questions sometimes.
Yeah.
Have they got a better solution, making them feel better about themselves?
Yeah.
You know, everyone likes that little bit of pride in themselves. If you give X operative that he goes out there and says, oh yeah, I suggested this to them.
Yeah.
You know, you've guided them in a way that they can have that little suggestion, and it gives them that also that little bit of pride. And that's one of the things about it. It's just, I know it sounds very cliche, but being happy in work.
Yeah. Well, Mick, I think that's a really great insight to your journey. I think it's a great insight for people that might be looking to make that choice of, you know, do I get into management or not? It can be quite a daunting thing, especially if you've been in the same company and you've been working with the lads for a number of years, and you've got to make that choice then to become their boss. But I think from listening to Mick, although he found it hard, it's certainly rewarding in the end. And certainly from my side, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that every day is roses and peaches, because, you know, things go wrong, don't they, Mick?
Yeah, definitely.
But that's the point of being a good manager, is being able to put the things that go wrong right, to be able to listen, to be able to take criticism, to be able to give criticism, to be able to talk, problem solve. And Mick over the years has done a great job, made mistakes like we all have. I make mistakes daily, we all make mistakes daily. But it's, you know, it's been a pleasure to watch you grow, mate. And yeah, I think that's that episode for our fourth one. Done.